Good morning, Rick.
Hey, good morning, Keith. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. You every time we do these, I'm loving that goatee and that mustache. That is so distinguished.
Oh,
Are you doing a pipe now? You smoking a pipe or no tobacco?
no smoking jacket, no pipes, man. No, man. The gray, I just had to like accept it.
Boy,
Yeah,
that's great, wonderful.
because I love your hair and the color, so I'm like, I gotta accept this. So it's so much, man. But hey, here we are. The title of this podcast is "It Takes 1 Second for You to Be Bothered and Store Stuff, and Years to Get It Out."
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So what this is a podcast I was thinking about in terms of the things that I would start to do when I was 1.0 that started when I was younger. Is I had this, Michael Singer talks about how people collect stamps. I used to collect past hurts and pains and things like that. And I would store them. And
Mm,
long after the event has passed,
mm.
I'm still carrying it. I
Yeah.
got friends who've been divorced. They're still carrying things about their exes. Why are you even talking about your ex? Like you might as well have stayed married. Or how the ex isn't, what I'm saying? Or how the ex isn't a great parental partner.
Oh,
You
yeah.
But okay, this thing that they didn't do 3 years ago for the kids, that event's over, you know? So you store that stuff and you don't even know that you're storing it. You got bothered, you stored it, and now it's continuing to cause you pain. It's like an infection, but you're the one who keeps it in there. And it could take a long time to get it out, years for some people, if at all, if ever, that they get it out. And so what I've started to do is it's rare that I'm bothered now because of the practice. But when I am bothered, I say to myself, oh, this got to go. We're not storing this because it will take years to come out. And you
Mm.
start to ruminate on it. You obsessive think over it about what they didn't do and how they didn't do this to me, or this was done to me, and this isn't fair. And you store all this stuff in there, and you don't even know what you're collecting. And it just bothers you and bothers you and bothers you. It continues to not only run your life, it ruins your life. And
Mm.
then, and so a second of storage, a second of being bothered takes forever to get it out. And so why just start from the beginning and everything that comes in that you don't like and the mind pipes up and says it's a problem, let it go.
Mm.
Traffic, instead of carrying on about the driver, let it go. Any relationships, somebody at work didn't say something, cut you off, said your idea was bad, don't store it, let it go. Everything that happens that comes up, your job internally is to let it go. Some things need to be dealt with, but even when you deal with them, you let go any kind of hurt that your mind says or your mind is projecting onto the situation, which is creating problem number two. You let that go so you can deal with problem number one, the event itself. So, what are your thoughts, Rick?
Well, I think that's great, Keith. That's wonderful advice. If you look at it just in terms of how limited each human has in terms of control of external events, and couple that with how little energy each of us has, if you're going to spend what little energy you have on holding on to crap that you are interpreting, you're judging to be something negative, that's a lot of energy where you're committed to something that's unhealthy. You're
Yeah,
committed to being unhealthy by hanging on to those judgments about whatever someone you think has done something wrong to you, or the universe hasn't treated you fairly. I think one of the things that would be helpful for people to get used to is the notion that we only have the control to react. We don't have the control to manipulate a hurricane, or metaphorically the hurricane of other kinds of frictions with people that happen to us. Those hurricanes are beyond our control. We always have the means to react in a way that's healthy. And that leads into the notion of not only having a 1 second experience that becomes your life by internalizing negatives, but that translates into the solution might be to stop judging, or at least get to the point where you can recognize that you're judging, and then understand that you always have the right, and you always have the power to give whatever the external is that's bothering you the amount of weight that you want to give it. So you can say, Aunt Susie, forgot my birthday, and how dare she, and what's the problem? And my sister always is remembered by Susie. In fact, Susie just bought a house for my third brother, and I'm mad. You can do that. Or you can just say, it's Susie, disappointed, but what's for dinner? See, my point is that that's all within the realm of possibility. I think people get the idea that the external makes me do something. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, the external doesn't do a damn thing. The external doesn't care. The external is completely neutral.
It's not about you at all.
That's right. It's a judgment about Aunt Susie or the hurricane, or, I didn't get a big enough piece of pie, or whatever the hell people think about. And I do it too. But it requires some recognition that I'm judging. The judging takes energy. The judging is penalizing me from getting into things that I really want to get into that are healthy. So I totally agree with you, Keith. I think that was really great advice.
Oh, thank you, Rick. When you talked about Aunt Susie, I thought about someone who was part of the community before, and they lost a loved one. And they stored these past events, more importantly, the past events and the narratives about it for years. And so when the loved one passed away, they were ruminating about who was going to get what, in terms of material things, possessions that were left after the person passed away. Mm. And unaware that they stored this. They were bothered. They stored it, and they kept talking about it. And it was causing them anxiety. And they didn't understand that they were doing it to themselves. And it was causing frictions with other members of the family. I mean, they were causing the friction. They thought that the members of the family were treating them unfairly, that they weren't being sensitive, and this is supposed to be mine. All this, I'm just like, this is exactly what that whole topic is. It takes 1 second to be bothered. And to store that stuff that will ruin your life. And it can take years to get it out. Just don't store it in the first place. Like, let it all go. Your quote that you told me years ago, it stays with me. None of it matters, and it's all going away. It's just beautiful. I'm talking about my manager at work and how she's this way or he's that way. None of it matters, and it's all going away. We got a little community garden right now, and I think it's going beautifully because it's just life. Some people planted well, some people did. It's okay. It's all right. There'll be a new season to plant. It'll be okay.
That's right.
Well, that's right. None of that's happening again. None of it matters, and it's all going away. That's what I think about. Rick, that was solid gold. Whenever I find myself getting bothered by trivial stuff, I think, stop. None of it matters, and it's all going away. Brian and I say this to each other. Brian Chung and I say this to each other all the time. We just look at each other, and we picture the way that you said it to us. And Brian, I'll be, having a moment, and Brian would stop me and put his hand on my shoulder, like, Keith, stay with me. None of it matters, and it's all going away. And then we just break down, and we just release it. We let it go, Rick.
Yeah, so it feels great when you do that. It feels great.
Thank you so much for that. When you're in traffic, just like, oh my God, like none of it matters. And it's all going on. It's just beautiful. Rick, I love you, man. Thank you so much for the many ways you bless my life.
Oh, thank you for keeping me in yours and making me feel like I'm a player in life, and I still have something to say. And most of the time, I'm just trying to struggle with my to-do list, like everybody else on the planet. We're all pretty much the same, suffering from the same worries, the same judgments, the same concerns about our kids and ourselves and our future and our security. We all do it. And it's just one of those things where you need a practice to help you focus on what's important and to understand that all of it is going away. It's all temporal. It's all temporal.
It's all going away. Rick, I love you, man.
I love you, Keith. Hey, thanks, man. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Adios.